Check it. It's time to empower the women and educate the men. This is the calling that God has begun with. Two individuals he destined to win. So sit back, relax, maybe grab a snack as we speak some facts guaranteed to impact your life. Your destiny is God-given right. So listen up as we speak some truth to you. Guaranteed to make sure you
live your life to the fullness. Make sure you are winning, never quitting on yourself. Live your life to the fullness. Make sure you are winning, never quitting on yourself.
What's up? We're back. Episode 2. Man, I'm so excited to be back. Listen, again, today, episode 2. Are you using your soul as a trash can? Welcome back to Analytical Chaos.
Yes, welcome everybody, and I'm C. Morgan.
And I'm King. And like we like to start always, we go to the Father in prayer. Father, we just thank you for this time. Let this episode be empowering, let it be educational, and let the people receive something from it that they can use for the rest of their life. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. All right, see, are you ready? You ready for this?
Yep, yes I am. What we got?
Listen, I was on Instagram. I don't be on Instagram much, but I just be on there to post. But I came across something on Fred Hammond's page that I thought was the most beautiful thing in the world. I listened to it, but when I got finished, I looked at the comments, it threw me off. So I thought, why not bring that here, and it goes well with our topic. So I'm going to share this with our audience. You already seen it, so we're going to share it. So let's go to it right now as I look for it.
Well, I didn't write nothing down, so I wanted to be in the absolute best. I wanted to be in this moment, so whatever I say is how I'm feeling right now. I choose her to endure at all times. I cheated.
Stop! We're going to stop right there. Now, I feel like everybody at this point in juncture did what she did. They stopped listening once this man said, I cheated. That's what they did. So we're going to stop before I go any further, because I'm going to give a spoiler alert. I'm going to give a spoiler alert. Listen, he's not talking about cheating as the sense of what people known for. But it does pay a point to bring this out, though, because I want y'all to hear this what he said. No, I'm telling you, no, I need to prepare, because right now, people that done heard that, they like, oh, he cheated. What we gonna listen to this for? Listen, I need you to not go into your life, or if you've been cheated on, and go back into the whole moment. Do not go there. Please don't. Listen, I promise you, I need you to listen to past I cheated. I need you not to shut your brain off when you hear I cheated. Please don't shut your brain off, because what he says next is amazing. So we're gonna go back. I want to give a spoiler alert. I just want to prepare you because I want y'all to hear this. Now we're gonna go back because I already know when he said I cheated, them jokers like, oh heck nah, we ain't looking at this. Let's start over. Listen to what he's saying.
Well, I didn't write nothing down, so I wanted to be in the absolute best. I wanted to be in this moment, so whatever I say is how I'm feeling right now. I choose her to endure at all times. I cheated, but not in the sense that we're accustomed to. See, I merely cheated on your heart and I had an affair with your soul. So Alexis, as we stand here today, we're united as one.
Boy, what did that boy? Did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear how powerful that was? He said, I cheated on your heart and had an affair with your soul. So as we stand here as one. See, now let's tell the people what you thought he said.
When you first hear you're taking it as cheating in the physical. That's the first thing your mind automatically jumps to. And then, you do kind of like it up, some of it, especially when you talked to them before about some of the comments and things that were said on it because they blocked that out. And actually what a lot of some people is, it went like you know what I'm saying, it's like using your soul as a trash can. You left that trauma, those experiences, those actually pop out related to some of those comments that came out.
But let's be honest with the people though. You actually did not hear him say that. When I told you, see, that ain't what he said. Yeah, he did. He said, I cheated with my heart and my soul. That's what you put together. You heard him say, like I said, that's what I'm like, why? See, what you mean? That's not what he said. No, that is what he said. I had to go back and play it for you so you could hear it because you did not hear that. All you heard was, I cheated with my heart and my soul. And that's not what he said.
I didn't hear the intricate words he said before, which makes sense. Before and after each one. So, yes.
But do you know how powerful them intricate words were, though?
They were. And actually, when you thought about it and processed it later, it did come to light. Okay, I understand a little more now. I got you. He did physically cheat on her. He's saying with his soul and had an affair. Somebody has an affair with the soul. And
he said, I cheated on your heart and I had an affair with your soul.
Yeah.
That's what he said. My bad. We're gonna continue this because I need y'all people. We're gonna address this thing, man, because Lord Jesus, this man said the most beautiful thing in the world. And I promise you, I don't need to take it. I got my own verses. All right, let's go a little bit further.
I cheated, but not in the sense that we're accustomed to. See, I merely cheated on your heart and I had an affair with your soul. So Alexis, as we stand here today, we're united as one. I choose her to endure at all times. I cheated. I sincerely apologize for cheating on your heart, but I knew in order to love you unconditionally from the crown of your head to the bottom of your feet, I had become one with your soul. See, I knew that if I fell in love with your soul, that your heart, it would pump. Your blood would then flow, and after your mind, it would follow. But even though I became one with your soul, I am still in love with your heart. Because with every heartbeat and every breath that you take, it gives me life. On average, our heart beats 100,000 times a day. And we naturally breathe at least 22,000 times a day. Baby girl, with you giving me so much life, I'll never have to want for another woman again.
I mean, literally, if you listen to this, we're not gonna play the whole thing, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because I want y'all to go out there and find it on YouTube, so y'all can get his people views. I really want that to happen because we're gonna play one more piece to it. But let me tell y'all something. He broke down the heartbeat, the breaths, and he said, "I will never have to want for another woman in this world." Now, what was sad to me as I looked at the comments were how many people said that he's lying and that took too long. Because I think it's about 8 minutes, if I ain't mistaken, that what he was speaking. Some people some people like, yo, you could have said that by itself. Like, I'm like, what? Listen to me. Listen to me. This man poured out his heart to the woman he is married. And the reason why it looked, thanks, CJ. The reason why it looks like it's it's too long is because I call it bear with me if you may not understand it, but I call it the government cheese theory. And this is what I mean by that. If you had government cheese growing up and that's all you knew was government cheese, then all of a sudden you get Velveeta, you call Velveeta fake and the government cheese real. So in other words, what was fake you call real, and what's real you call fake. So that's what I think happened in this thing, because what he was doing was real, but because it's so foreign in this day and age, it looks fake. But in actuality, it was authentic. So that's what it was. But please tell the people what you said at the first time you heard. Please share with the people. Share. Be honest.
I don't know which part. I mean,
all of it.
It comes from like you said, when you have those triggers, you have that pain, as you were saying, like in the trash can you have, or what he's saying, and you made it clear when you said it's the reality, it's the perception, the reality that you have of oneself. But he's being, which men don't really express their feelings much, and when men do, they think that's in a weak state that they're in, when they're actually professing their true love for their woman, that person they're marrying. That's what they should do. But you don't see a lot of that uplifting at times, which it can. Yes, it can go both ways. Not trying to be biased, just looking at the clip that we're talking about right now. He's professing his love for her. He's empowering her. He's saying, hey, there's not another woman. I need you. That now the physical part has to follow the words. And they say, words speak, the physicality things you do sometimes speak more than words. So she's going to have to prove his action and make his words match what he's doing at the same time. But the part of the reaction that's coming back, people are relating to their traumas, to their hurt. Actually, to me, that's just what's coming forward. Yes, there are some reality when, manipulation comes in, they ain't being true, or people thinking maybe he ain't good for her, but also some things too in different perspective. We look at that person ain't good for them, maybe because that's when you have that jealousy and that envy that sits out there. Knowing your own soul, knowing what you want, that's kind of lost at times when we're going through life every day, that every second we're going through things. So we can't lose that, but we can't be so negative to someone else who's getting it, because you're not wanting it for yourself. You're not asking or demanding it for yourself, or you're in a situation or relationship that you're in that's unhealthy for you, that's coming forward. So it's a multitude of things that go into that and why people act the way they do.
Yes. Listen, the most important to me, we're going to play another clip, but the most important to me most important part of that, when that man said he had a affair with her soul, that means he loved her to her very core. Now, this may be one of the few times you see me and C disagree on soul, on a particular subject. However, we respect each other's perception. Now, me personally, how I feel about it is, when he said that, he said he's going to love the entire self from the creation, the foundation of her. He wanted to dig deep into her and love her from within, deeper than anybody has ever did that. And he had to go past the heart, way past that, to actually love her. And I'm going to elaborate a little bit more. We both going to elaborate a little bit more on what I'm saying later on in another clip. I want to fast forward to another part that he said. But for me, hey, I thought that was amazing. I think that is amazing that a guy is willing to learn his wife that much, that he wants to love her inner being where she's at. I thought that was amazing. And where's your thought on it?
No, I agree. No, that's not where the disagreement comes in. I mean, I agree with that, but it comes to the point of loving her to the core, because he's embodying all three: the mind, body, and soul. He's taking the spirit, all that he's embodying and getting to know her and loving her, not just because people confuse love, or they confuse that inner spirit, that soul, what they're actually doing. I mean, people get, as we discussed before, it's that physical, that transmutation, that sexual desire, that people just look at that physical of that, when people are so much more in their physical that they are. But the mask sometimes we put on If him want to love her to her core, he wants to see through her mask, love her with her flaws and alls, and really identify who she is, what she can do to boost him, and then be a one unit together.
Yeah, let's look at this. So, this is from C, the analytical. She had a chart that we broke this down: body, soul, heart, spirit. The thing we having is, me personally feel like the soul is the innermost. That's what I feel. Spirit, all that stuff. I feel like when we pass away, the spirit and the soul gonna combine. They up out of here. If someone want to love you to your soul, that means they really want to dig inside of you, inside of your emotions, your core, your feelings, and all that. And that to me is very powerful. I think the soul is separate from the heart, me personally, and the spirit. Now, see, explain your analysis on this right here, your beautiful work that you did.
Well, my research I had that part. To me, the heart is a combination. If you look at the heart, the black, like you said, background encompasses the heart. However, the heart crosses that line where you see the black goes into the blue. The heart is right on that line. So the heart is actually a combination of the spirit and soul. And I do agree, as when we pass, they both are, because the heart and the heart is part of the soul. The soul is the body and the spirit combined. I mean that the spirit is your inner, but I see how you're saying the heart in a physical. The heart is our inner. It's how it helps us breathe. So without it, but similar to the heart, but you talk in a mental capacity of what the heart has and what it does. You have to have heart, that passion. That's where all that comes from, because the man's mind is like the organ of his soul. So, and that's how I see you saying that of the heart is the innermost inner part of you. But then you have the mind is like the computer too, where you encompass the body and the spirit by all your surroundings and bring that into your environment. And then you compute it and you spit it back out by what you're doing. But if you're lost and have that trash inside you, you're spitting out trash. So why are we going to spit out trash and keep adding more into that? By him wanting to understand can help her sort out her trash, maybe. Because as you see in the video later on, you're going to see some part about him speaking about maybe the flaws that she's not happy with herself and what
Let's go to that. Let's go to that. Let's go to that part. Let's go to that part. Let's go there so you can go ahead and go deeper into that.
In reality, baby, I'm more affectionate than I am romantic. But do you remember when we first started dating one day and you had just got out of the shower? You had your towel on, and I told you to go stand in front of the mirror. And I wanted you to take your towel off. I wanted you to be in your purest form. And I said I was going to look at the wall, and I want you to tell me everything that you saw in that reflection in the mirror. And as you begin to tell me what you saw in the mirror, you begin to cry. And then I began to tell you what I saw in that mirror while still looking at the wall. In that moment, I learned two things. The first thing I learned was that there was a little girl trapped inside crying out for help. And the second thing I learned the most was that in that moment, if I had chose to continue to date you, that my job wasn't going to be to show you love, but instead my job was to enhance the self-love that you was always scared to embrace because of past traumas. If you don't remember nothing else I said today, remember this. The radiance of self-glowing is the evidence that nobody can dim your light. Glow.
And if y'all couldn't get past I cheated in the beginning of it, you will never get to this part, to what he's saying to her. Like, literally, what he's saying to her is amazing. The fact, and even a little bit more, I want y'all to really go find this video on YouTube, please, because y'all need to blow this up. This is the one that need to go viral, this video, actually. But what he's saying to her is, before that, he said something about the flaws that
Yes.
she hate, he love externally. Man, okay, so go ahead and finish your analysis you was doing.
Well, it's like he said, the internal part of that is actually him working with her, saying her insecurities that she have. the self-worth, even by looking at herself in a mirror, she saw things that she did not like. And actually what we have that perception, and sometimes we have that fog, is we think our partner sees it. We don't want them to see it either. But sitting through having someone that can work with you through those, like he said, traumas. We have so many traumas that we go through in life. It sits inside and it builds again. Are you using your soul as that trash can? Because your soul is your balance between your body and your spirit. But it, like I said before, if that's not in one, if that's not settled and balanced inside you, you're spitting out trash. But to sit there and have someone with you and that support system, what many of us don't have, as we think we don't, you have even strangers or people, your outlets you can go talk to, they can help balance you more with the trash that you have in that inner being. I mean, how many of us can really sit at times, especially, and I'm going to say women, because to me, I say this affects women a lot more because of what society says we should look like, what we should wear. Should we wear makeup? How we got to do our hair? It takes away from our authenticity of who we are. It's telling, society is telling us what women are supposed to look like. We're supposed to look like Coke bottles. We all have different shapes and sizes. And you see that with her, the flaws that she was feeling inside of her. However, he was there to support her. But we need ourselves, and she needs for herself too, which I'm sure she's going through that trauma. I don't know. I can't speak to how much she has healed or when that occurred, when he said they first met, that part of her feeling that way. But it's just growing out of that and taking your power back, that divine power that you have inside of you, your conscious. Bring your mind back. Put yourself into a world of where your crown, where it's supposed to be on top. Clean that trash can out. Fill it back up. No trash cans. We don't have any reservoirs for that. Have a reservoir for purity, as he said. He said her purest form. Go back to your purest form when you're able to heal from those traumas. When you're able to put yourself back into alignment of that you are, which you are created to be. Your gifts, your purpose, that positivity, that love you can put out, and that strength that you have from inside us. That to me, and your will, make that will and choice. It's like he's pushing her to do so, but he's so willing, like he said, and I love how he said that, get her back to her purest form, because we have lost some of our purest forms, where you become that lost soul. The lost soul becomes the trash that you have inside of you at times. And I think him helping her get back to that, and then him showing her, hey, this is what I see. When we can clearly see what someone else sees, now mind you, I'm not saying take we don't worry about people's opinions of us, especially if they're negative. Take in the positive, yes. I'm not saying take in those negative. If you only can change what you can change. We can't control other people's mouths and what they say. Control what you have, but have the courage inside, and then within yourself the strength to discard it and know who you are. And that's what I took from that. Like I said, the favorite part, one thing is he says, I love you in your purest form, and just glow. You need to hear more about that.
Yeah. He went on, like I said, I want y'all to go look at it. He talked about, matter of fact, that he don't want her to be known as AJ's wife, but he wants her to be known as Alexis, then AJ's wife, which I thought that was amazing, because so many times in a relationship, women do get lost into the relationship and they lose their selves. And his whole thing in that whole speech, that's why I say I think what happened, see, for real, like what happened with you, like a lot of people stopped at I cheated, and then they didn't take time out to listen to this man literally pour out his heart in what all men should do in a marriage. And literally, this is the epitome. That whole vow that he speaks, that he said, was the epitome of love your wife like Christ loved the church. Now, I said I wasn't going to preach. But okay, matter of fact, let's go. That is it. Like, everything he said was selfless. And see, the reason why this thing was foreign to everybody, because we live in a selfish world. And it's selfishness that causes people to turn off when they heard I cheated. Because they was affected by a man's selfishness. Because it's selfish to go cheat on somebody that is rocking with you and that's down for you. That's selfish. Or
just the concept. The concept of
the concept
whatever relationship they were in, they were cheated on or betrayed. It's the betrayal too that takes over the cheating. I think betrayal is stronger. That's the stronger emotion that people feel, is the betrayal. If they were vulnerable with you and you crossed that line with it. I think that's what that sits inside of hearing that. Just hearing someone even cheated.
Right, and like you said, then your soul, like you said, becomes a trash can, and then from your inner being, everything is perceived from that betrayal, that cheat, that thing that happened to you, that letdown. Even as far as the trauma, your once you let your soul become the resting place of trauma, betrayal, and all that stuff, that's what you're gonna spit out. That's what you're gonna spit out, and that's what you're gonna receive. So every time you hear something, even though it's good, it's gonna be negative. You're gonna compute it negative. As I use as an example, as C again. C heard I cheated with my heart and soul. And y'all clearly heard that's not what that man said. But because of just past things, that's what computed. I mean, it's like, and then you like, oh my God, he's in the front of the altar confessing in the marriage. Oh my God, y'all thought it was gonna be a reality show. But that's sad that a reality show get more views than this truth that this man just spoiled out to his wife to be. And that's the problem we have here. We got to get away from it. We just got to bring truth to it. I want to go to the next slide. We can break this thing down. This is where the debate begins. All right, here we go. Showtime. God conscious, heart, self-decision, self-correction, flesh, world conscious. I said all that wrong. Sorry, let me say this over again. God conscious, heart, self-conscious, flesh, world conscious. My bad. Said that wrong. Now, this is my thing. This is where I'm at with this. I believe that your heart is in between of doing things God way and doing it yourself. Mm-hmm. I believe that wholeheartedly. I believe that's where the soul come in at, where you decide to get it right. Only God can fix that. This is my belief. I'm not trying to force this on nobody. This is how I rock with God. God had to fix all of that for me, because my soul was jacked up from trauma and past things that happened to me, and it was jacked up, but God had to come fix it, because we're going to deal with that in a minute, because there's another piece of this. That's what I see. Now, C. Morgan, please explain to people how you see this, your wonderful analogy here, research.
I agree in the part when you're saying, the God conscious, the heart and the self-conscious, you're saying only God can fix it. But however, when we're in the flesh and in the body, which, the soul, the body encompasses the soul too. You have some flesh in it because of the outer environment that we have, the senses, everything we take in, touch, smell, physical, all that. However, it's the will and the free choice that we were given. No matter what the faith you have that free choice. So to me, those two go together. You can't have one without the other. Because even now, whatever faith anyone believes, you have to have some type of commitment, some type of blind faith to believe in that. You can't do that without having the will and the choice that you're actually starting to believe it. You're manifesting that. You're putting that energy out. So to me, you can't have one without the other. You need all three, but in the aspect of, I'm just saying, the heart is the physical part of it. You bring it into the soul, which is, that will give you that discernment, that we have, because the heart has the conscious, the mind, the emotion, like I said, and the will. And then it brings us all together, as a one. And like I said about the computer, your soul, and you have the conscious and subconscious mind. Which one you're gonna listen to? Of course, though, subconscious, you speak it, it always computing it. It's taking, oh, you said this is what you want to do. I'm already doing this in the background. But you consciously, sometimes in your body, in the senses that you're doing, you just see that mass, that outside of you. But whatever you take in and what you think, your body is going to do what you think. Whatever your mouth spits out is what you're putting in your mind. So you have to correct that inner part of you, that self-identity, that authenticity, that actual true self, who you actually are. Those pieces that fall to the ground are not broken. Those are, like I said in a conference I attended, those are another masterpiece for you to look at. Grab your pieces. It's just another molding of you that's laid on the floor. Pick it just like you see the Picassos, you see the abstract. We are not perfect. We are not perfect at all. We are imperfectly perfect, is what I love to say. For that, no one can be you, and you are unique to yourself. And that's how we can mold and clean out our soul, that trash that we have. We cannot clean the trash out unless we are honest, that brutal honesty with ourselves, and say, this is true. This is something I do not like. You have to make the choice, have the will, have the heart to fix that. accept that pain. Pain is not always bad. Everyone looks at pain as bad, but the pain is not always bad. That pain, you get through it. You can have the good pain. I mean, for instance, pain is not bad. Yeah, for the women that went through labor, yeah, you talk about them labor pains and think you went through, but that pain is gone because what did that pain bring? It brought you a blessing. It brought you a precious gift into your life, a family. That's the same way as how we need to treat and work with our soul and the pain that we have and healing that pain. What is it bringing? It made you stronger. What if you didn't have this pain? What did you learn from it? You always have to take the positive aspect of it, not take the negative all the time. What is this bringing? Any situation you're in, what did it come with this? What did I learn? Always take away the learning opportunities that you have in that pain, in that trauma, and speaking about it. What way can you heal? A lot of times, we don't want to talk about it because we feel we're talking about it when we're living. Actually, that can happen. Either house, maybe the trauma had that placed at, even in a relationship that you have, maybe somebody's words, but you don't realize it till that's triggered. A lot of times when we get mad, we get sad or angry, and that just like we get happy, you think about the place where you were that made you happy. Same thing with the pain, but how do you clean that out so you can become peace of your mind, your heart, and your spirit?
That's good stuff, Dusty. That's why that's why you get paid the big bucks. Yes. That's good stuff. But let's tap on this though. Let's keep going. Let's dig. Cause we know we like to dig into people. That's what we do. Were a lot of stuff too though from the outside. Once you deal with your inside, once you deal with that, and it's like you said, pain can help. The truth helps, and sometimes you gotta acknowledge, man, I'm jacked up. I had to, man, I'm jacked up. I gotta get it straight. But also, you're gonna have to shut out the outside too. The people who like to speak on your past trauma or your past failures or your past neglects. You're gonna have to set that out also. You literally gonna have to believe, and again, I'm not forcing this on nobody. Let me say this. You literally gonna have to believe that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. And that God didn't make no mistakes when he created you. And that whatever you put your mind to do, your hands to do, you will prosper. You got to believe this stuff. You got to start believing. This is how I rock. I believe. I wake up every morning and believe that literally no weapon formed against me going to prosper. Whatever I put my hands to do, I'm going to succeed. I just wake up and I believe that. Like you said, you got to think it. It start here. You say, I think it's in Proverbs, as the mouth speaks to the heart, something like that. You gotta believe what what you think you will become. Like I use this as an example. Lord knows, I hope we don't get banned for this. I use it as an example. Like fear factor is a fear thing. I was talking to somebody today about a certain thing, and I asked them why did they do this thing, and they said they did it out of fear because they believed that the worst would happen to them, so they went and did this because they said this was fix that. It's amazing how fear moves people. But my thing of it is, I believe this. Again, forget this. I'm not going to keep saying this. Y'all already understand my stance. I believe this. God didn't give me the spirit of fear. He gave me love, power, and a sound mind. What happens, though, we always talk about the love and the power, but we forget about the sound mind. It's important that you have a sound mind. So for me, when I listen to things going on, I stay here with this sound mind. I remember what he told me. He said, cast down all vain imagination and everything that exalts itself against the knowledge of him. So if it's going against what he said and his promises, I can't rock with it. So I'm not going to believe it. And I don't have a fear. I don't care how many people saying this is what's going to happen if you don't do this. Man, miss me with that. I trust what God said. Because he told me, let everybody be a lie, he be the truth. So when it comes to your solar realm, for me, that's something you have to dig deep into and find your true self. And for me, that's what you got to do as far as with God in a relationship. That's for me. Because as jacked up as my soul was, after all the trauma and everything that I went through in life, it took God to help me get that aligned. Because before that, I was spitting poison out. I was angry. And if you did something, I wouldn't let nobody else do nothing to me. And if you try me, I'm going to go get you. But I came from the trash can mentality. I responded not out of love like I should, but I responded from my trauma. And if I was hurt in my solical realm, I hurt people. If I was broke in my solar realm, I broke people. And I received what they said from a broken state and a hurt state. So like you said, and it is true. You can say what you want to. Yes, women suffer more from this than men. Even though men suffer and are quiet,
Just silent with it.
they want to be silent because they don't want to say, I'm hurting and I'm vulnerable because it makes me look weak. Miss me with that. Because what it do, it'll make you be dead. And the statistics backs me up on that. Because a lot of men have taken their lives because they were suffering in silence. And to their soul, they was crushed. And they felt defeated. And instead of saying something, they left here. So it's very important that we do not use our soul as a trash can. See?
Well, I think another part too that I think is really, really big that we don't do sometimes is what we suffer, what we went through, or some bad decisions that we made in our past. The past should stay in the past. Sometimes that past comes back up. But the number one thing I think is forgiving yourself or the people. Because when you don't forgive at all,
let's go there,
especially
see?
the people. Yeah, the people, you give them the power over you. When you don't forgive yourself, you're keeping yourself in this lost soul because you remember you need all three. So you're off balance now. Your core, your middle is off balance. So how are you going to balance the scales if you don't got your core right to stand you up straight? So, and forgiveness, I mean, for me, it's not easy all the time either. I'm going to be transparent. It's not easy. I still have some forgiveness to keep doing, but I'm a work in progress. I'm going to keep doing it, every day, what I have to do. But for the most part, I keep it where positivity reigns.
Right.
And that aspect of it. I do have, some triggers. I'm like, oh, dang, I didn't realize sometimes that I do have to forgive a person that has betrayed me, someone who has hurt me, or, we're just downright vile. Honestly, you don't feel you deserve it. But however, you make the choices to, for instance, and so as people have these bad past relationships, bad to me does not have to mean physical abuse. You have the mental, you have emotional abuse too. Bad to me is anything that you allow that is out of your morals, your beliefs, and degrades you and starts to make you feel. And I know they say people can't make you feel things, which is an actual truth to that, but it does happen. But we have to say, I'm not allowing it. Put your barriers on what you will not allow in them. You teach people how to treat you.
Right.
And it's not, and I'm not saying that in a sense of we have like being trained as dogs. It's just a respect or a moral, and it's actually is love, because people confuse love as a physical, buying the gifts all the time, saying I love you. Those are just actions that come with it. What about the deeper part, me healing my wounds, loving my scars, empowering me, lifting me up, just being there when I need you, say thank you, I appreciate you. Right. All that comes into the intricate love part of it, like I said, in sex, as they say sometimes too, people misconstrue sex as love. You need everything encompassing all that to understand love, to understand loving yourself, to balance in your soul, because your soul is gonna keep you balanced in that sense of it. Like I said, there's so many different parts. We have two big parts that encompass the soul. Then we got our mind. Your mind is the intellect part of that keeps you going. And how you said sound mind. The sound mind, and going into a deeper part of sound mind, what are you hearing? What are you manifesting in your thoughts? It's not just verbal now. We have thoughts. We have the wavelengths that we listen to, different things. Even like the, learning about humming, how humming can calm you. That's still your mind. It's something that you think is so tiny. What I learned, through one of the coach, humming can calm you. I mean, but you can always learn. And there's some things to do, as we're saying, clean out the trash can. To me, the most important thing to clean out your trash can is actually the part of accepting you, who you truly, transparently, brutally are. Right. That's where it starts. For you to start. Reach out to the different outlets that are available to you, your support system that you have, books. Books can help you through that too. And just actually, I think a lot of people, just the healing part that come through and helping you see yourself when you don't see yourself, because we have blinders on, or the fog, because we're not unlearning what we're taught or said how we should and be. I think the part of just speaking, talk it out, can't talk it out, I suggest writing it in a journal.
Yeah.
And some write it out and then some burn it, because it's letting go, because it's not manifesting inside you and becoming rotting, like you said, it being toxic and becoming poison inside you. Stop poisoning yourself with toxicity that you do not need in your life. We only have time, as we say, you don't even have tomorrow. So you're going to start doing stuff today because you're not promised tomorrow. I think you need to start today.
Right.
And even the next moment, you need to start and do that. Like I said, the biggest chunk is forgiveness. You have to forgive and let stuff go, which you can't change. That's why it's called the past.
Right.
You change the past with the present and the future. Leave that past back there. Leave those emotions back there. But you have to heal from them, what I'm saying. Don't ignore them, but you have to heal to leave it back there. Because you bring in that past in your present when you let it dwell. Don't let it dwell, because it's your choice, your will of letting it dwell by you not facing it.
Right. And even on forgiveness, in the Bible it speaks when they asked Jesus, how many times we got to forgive? He said 70 times 70. And, they were like, Lord, increase my faith. They were like, what? I mean, like, because the way Bible describes forgiveness, in the Greek, it talks about you got to consider it annulled as if it never happened. And you got to let it go.
That's hard sometimes.
Right. And that's why he said, that's why they said, you got to increase my faith. And see, everybody took that scripture for something else. No, they were literally saying, you got to increase my faith, because this joker just did me wrong. And not only that, especially if they ask for forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
you
the
have
part.
to ask for it. You have to ask and give it. You have to do both.
You got to do both. But see, the thing about it is, this is one of the hardest things for people to do. Forgive. This is where the toxic lies deep, the root. This is where around unforgiveness is where that is, boy. You talk about some serious toxic trash. Unforgiveness. Listen. You have to do it for you, though. That's why we're saying this. Because I heard it so many times. I used to be like, man, whatever. But it's literally real. It's real. Unforgiveness is for you and not the other person. You around here hold on to something that this man or woman did to you, and you still mad, and it's still messing up your life, and they sleeping at night. They don't went on with their life. They having a ball. And you at the house miserable. You at the house angry. When you see anybody that's mentioned their name, they got a name like this, it takes you back and you all angry again unless it happened again. It's like it just happened. That is, you got to let it go. It do take God to do that. I had to do that because I was one of those, man, you do something to me, I'm going to do something right back. That was me. And like I said, it was just, I had to learn that I can't do that. But what I want to say about forgiveness, people, it's a song by Kevin LeVar said, give me a heart to forgive. In that song, he said, I need a heart that forgives, a heart that lives and lives so that I can be free. He said, it's so that I can be free. Even at the end of it, he was like, I need to let it go. I gotta let it go because it's been holding me back. Not the person who did it, you. Like, it's this forgiveness thing, and I ain't even know we was going here, but since we are here, I'm going to stay here. Listen to me. Forgiveness will, if you forgive, you will be free. But if you don't, every relationship you get in, that person, no matter how good that person is, it's going to remind you of them. No matter what they do, no matter how great they are, and going back to the beginning of this show, I cheated. You heard that and it triggered. Why did it trigger you? Because you haven't forgiven. Because you haven't let go. Because you went right back to John, Sally, Ruth, Jamaica, all of them. Whoever cheated on you, went right back to that person that time and you haven't forgiven and letting go. So you cannot even be free to experience something that's so beautiful because you still have it. And that, along with it, bitterness. So you have unforgiveness and bitterness. So you have literally shut your heart off to people so you don't receive love and you don't give love. Yeah. And check it out. Right. And the person who walks in unforgiveness is the wrong. I don't want to be around them. They the most miserable, ignoring, bad attitude people in the world. And nobody wants to be around that.
They become numb too. That numbness. factor.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's not giving or receiving. You come, like we said, that lost soul. You become a lifeless
I
physical
lost soul.
shell, not feeling any emotion, and you're not living. Basically, you're living to die. You're not dying to live. Is
And we need
basically
to
what you're
live.
doing.
And we need to live. So I'm telling you,
Correct.
I did not know we were going here, but we here. Listen, this must be for somebody. It's got to be for somebody. I promise you, I'm gonna stop right here and just pick a pin in this whole soul thing and soul tracking, and it all goes together though. Really, let me tell you something. If you're looking at this podcast and you stayed to this point, you need to let go of everything that you feel was done to you that was wrong, that they didn't get justice for it. You feel like they didn't get justice for it. You feel like something else should have happened. You got to let that go. And if you believe in God, put it in God's hands. If you don't believe in God, sweetie, homeboy, it's going to hinder your life if you don't let it go. You will not be able to progress in life, period. Because nobody's going to want to be around toxic. And even though you don't think you putting out toxic, you are. Because you got to let things go. Because things are going to happen in your life that's going to be reminding you of that. You got to get to the point to where you walking in life and pursuing your purpose to the point to where no matter what nobody do, you keep going and you let it go and you give it to God. I'm at a point in my life like this. God purposed me to do this. So if people get in the comments and say, this is trash, this is a garbage podcast, man, you're talking to God. Because the only reason I'm on here because God told me this is what I'm supposed to be doing. So it don't bother me no more. But I had to get to that point because I used to be the one who held on. My dad didn't show up and he died. Then the women, they molested me and all that stuff and what they did to me in the military. Man, I was angry. Man, I was a terrorist. Put it that way. I was going to get folk and I didn't care. But that came from bitterness though. Bitterness, unforgiveness. And I had to let it go so I can be free to love and receive love. So
Right.
if you made it to this point and this is for you and you walking in unforgiveness, please let it go. For you, not for them. Let God deal with them. Let God handle that. But for your sake, so you can be free and you don't have that burden on you no more, let it go. Trust me, I can match you with betrayal. I can match you with anything you think you've done that happened to you. I promise you, I don't have enough time on this show to match you. But I had to let it go, so I'm encouraging you to let it go. And when I let it go, so many doors open for me. And I believe the same thing can happen for you. All right, we off the preaching part. All right, see, back to you. Back to you.
It comes from the part, I mean, like you said, it's not just forgiving the other people. It's not just cleaning your soul out for the other people and your spirit and clearing your mind. It comes into the part of you empowering and filling yourself back up with self-worth, self-love, the value of yourself, and abolish those insecurities, because no one can be you, because there's only one you. There's only a unique you. No one has the gifts that you have, and be obedient in those gifts. You will be blessing others and you're blessing yourself. I know we go in the way of serving others, but at times we forget serving ourselves. We can't just keep outputting everything and emptying and pouring out ourselves without pouring up into ourselves too. Right. And it's like we said, it's not just the physical, the spiritual, you need all three again together. And yes, I'm going to keep saying that because your core to me is your soul, because it's a combination of all of them. So without one, you can't have the other. You do stay broken in that aspect, but only allow as long as you will it, as long as you have the choice and make decision to do so. If you don't want to do that and flourish in yourself, so you can flourish in others. It's just like us, even, as parents. How do we expect our kids to sit and flourish if we can't show them how to flourish? We are actually, like they say, the walking role models. And you don't have to be a parent to do it. You can be a teacher. Everyone's a mentor to somebody. You give advice to somebody, you do. But how do you expect someone to take what you say if you don't exhibit yourself? If you can speak it, but if you truly don't believe in yourself, you become a hypocrite in that sense. I mean, you're giving out good energy, you're giving out good power, but how come you can't give that out to yourself, but you give it to other people to empower them and uplift them? You see them do well. But then in yourself, I need and I request, that you guys refill your